Test.
I don't do it often. I'll do it more often in winter, because in summer, if I get the trail, I'll just go.
Let me double check those. Hey, Jess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very short Debbie Freeman version of the Shema, which is going to go right into Thou Shalt Love.
Okay.
Love the Lord, thy God, with
That is before the Behemoth.
yes, and with all thy might, and these words which I command you on this day shall be in thy heart, be in thy heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto your children. You shall speak. I know. It's like an
I
oldie.
love it though. It's so beautiful.
Shema. It's like total camp, right?
Yeah.
Total camp for me. Yisrael, Adonai, Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad.
Which I did have.
Baruch Shem Kevod. Wow. Nice to see you. Casey, you're a man.
Hey, I'm looking at the sheet, this master sheet. It says that I'm aware that Sticks is the name. But it also says that the cavalry fundraiser, that it seems like it with Schleppen. Capital Shalom and Schleppen will visit Greece.
Gee, I haven't seen you in minutes.
I know. Lou, so your uncle Lenny, your father's brother, and they died. No, I know, but they both passed away within days of the Hebrew calendar. His brother. And Lenny died on. Similarly in the winter. And the Jewish calendar has them, so I'm saying both of their names. Yeah. But your father died decades ago. Before Lenny. And Lenny died about 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago? Oh, more than, so 25 years ago. Your father's, right? That's what I thought, like about 10 years ago or so. Oh well. Oh, I forgot my this thing over here. About one more minute. You can't hear me. You ever say on the Saturday Night Live, Garrett Morris, when he did, do you remember the early set? Because somebody goes, no, I think for the hearing impaired. And Garrett Morris for the hearing. Our top story today. Our top story. Right. I know. Right, because he's got to be 80. Right. Our top story for today. Right. All right, everybody, welcome and Shabbat Shalom. So glad that you are all here, and we're so happy to welcome a few new faces to the congregation this evening, and just really happy to see you all here, and suffice it to say, particularly happy to have this group with us. Can I officially refer to you by your new name? So the Shabbat Zimra Band is now lovingly referred to as Shticks. Shticks. I'm trying to remember. Now I have to go back and see if I have any memories of any Styx songs. There were some good ones, but I just can't remember them off the top. Oh, domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. But the point is that they are not sticks, but rather shticks, and I think you know what the play on words is here. So we're so glad that you're here, and Shabbat Shalom, and we're going to begin our service with Lechu Neranenah, and Lechu Neranenah is on page 130. Now, I want you to notice something. So I'm here, and thankfully Jess is here with me, but the very fact that it's just the two of us, no matter how beautiful she sounds, it really means that it's encouraging you to sing along. And I really, really mean it. And there's one song which might be a little unfamiliar to you, but I'm going to try to get you to sing that one with me too. So we're going to start with Lechu Neranenah. This is on page 130. Lechu Neranenah, Ladonai Naria, Litzor Yishenu, Litzor Yishenu. Lechu Neranenah, Ladonai Naria, Litzor Yishenu, Litzor Yishenu. Nikat Mafana, Bitoda, Bizmirot Naria Lo. Nikat Mafana, Bitoda, Bizmirot Naria Lo. Lechu Neranenah, Ladonai Naria, Litzor Yishenu, Litzor Yishenu. Lechu Neranenah, Ladonai Naria, Litzor Yishenu, Litzor Yishenu. Nikat Mafana, Bitoda, Bizmirot Naria Lo. Nikat Mafana, Bitoda, Bizmirot Naria Lo. Let's do it. All right, so we're going to continue with the lighting of the Shabbat candles. However, before we do, what I'd like to do is kindle the lights which have become, that are here in the yellow, which is for our loved ones in the state of Israel right now. The fact is that we got some very, very bad news, although not altogether unexpected, but really still bad, troubling, difficult news. And and we always knew that these weeks, ever since we were able to create a deal, we always knew for a ceasefire that these were going to be hard weeks. We knew it. I don't think we fully appreciated the pain that we were going to feel, but we knew there was going to be something. We knew it wasn't just going to be all strawberries and whipped cream on the top. We knew it was not only going to be difficult because we were recognizing all of the very bad people we were returning back to releasing from prison, but we also knew that we just didn't know what to expect with respect to what the condition of our loved ones who have been in captivity were going to be. And in the case of this week, we learned of the death of essentially the majority of a family, two young children and a mother. the husband is home, but how he will be able to continue on. It would be hard enough just to be in captivity for that long and then be able to transition to a semi-normal life. But then add to it that your entire family was murdered. It's my heart is just breaking for Yarden Bimas right now. And so I'm going to light the 2 candles here. One, bring them home. Anyone who is still in captivity, even bodies, we want them home. We want them with us. And the other one, just for a recognition of we have soldiers there, and we have a deep desire for this to be over. Something we never wanted, by the way, just to remind you. We've never wanted this conflict. We didn't start it. We never wanted it. And yet we have been forced to participate in it for almost a year and a half now. And so what I'd like to do at this time then is now to invite Laura Murray and Marianne Fry to join us here for the honor of kindling the Shabbat candles. So we're on page 121. You know, the bar mitzvah kids always do the top, but if you want to do the bottom one together, you're welcome to.
We can do the top.
Do the top or the bottom? Fine, do the top then.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Beautiful.
Oh, good, it's almost new.
That's right.
I don't want to set the box on fire.
Oh, that would be fun. We'll do the blessing here, just lighting. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Thank you very much. And now 123. On 123, you'll see the blessing for Kiddush. Please join me. 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. V'shabbat kodsho b'yahava uvratzon inchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher letzihiyat mihitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha b'yahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat l'chaim. All right, so remember when I told you that there was going to be one song that you might not recognize? Well, this is it. It's called Ya'aloz Sadai. We've done it a few times here in the sanctuary, but don't want to make assumptions that everyone recognizes it. So if you want to follow along, you can find it on page 131. So it's part of Psalm 96. So you got to go about 80% of the way down. So you go past the break in the Hebrew, and it's 3 lines past the break. It says Ya'aloz Sadai. And the part that we're going to sing, Ya'aloz Sadai v'chol asher bo, which means let the fields be glad and everything that's in them. And then Az Yirananu kol atzei ya'ar, so shall the fields and the flowers and the trees of the fields be glad and celebrate as well and exult. And so again, the words are purely Ya'aloz Sadai v'chol asher bo, Az Yirananu kol atzei ya'ar. So you can do this with me, and I'm begging you to sing with me. I'll do it in the beginning, to give you a chance to kind of, pick up on the melody. But at some point, you got to join in with me. It's an absolute must. So again, Ya'aloz Sadai. This is on page 131. Ya'aloz Sadai v'chol asher bo, Ya'aloz Sadai. Ay, 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 Ya'aloz Sadai v'chol asher bo, Ya'aloz Sadai. Ay, 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 Az Yirananu kol atzei ya'ar, Az Yirananu kol atzei ya'ar, Az Yirananu kol atzei ya'ar, Az Yirananu kol atzei ya'ar. Ya'aloz Sadai v'chol asher bo, Ya'aloz Sadai. Ay, 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 Ya'aloz Sadai v'chol asher bo, Ya'aloz Sadai. Ay, 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 Az Yirananu kol atzei ya'ar, Az Yirananu kol atzei ya'ar, Az Yirananu kol atzei ya'ar, Az Yirananu kol atzei ya'ar. Ya'aloz Sadai v'chol asher bo, Ya'aloz Sadai. Ay, 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 Ya'aloz Sadai v'chol asher bo, Ya'aloz Sadai. Ay, 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 ay. You did good, and I appreciate you singing along with me. And as a reward, I will invite you to join me on page 146 with the Baruch Hu, and ask you to please rise. the top of 149. Would you join me in the English, please? Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. We're on page 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Please be seated. On the inside of your booklet, you can find the words to this. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be in thy heart, shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, and you shall bind them as a sign upon your hands, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your If you want to know what goes on behind the curtain, it's every once in a while, like I put together the cue sheet for the music that we're going to do, and I bring up an old classic that I remember singing at summer camp, and and I just like hearing it every once in a while, no matter how old it might seem. So we're on page 159. Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravaged by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. And that song is Micha Mocha. It's on the previous page, 158. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Nora tehilot, osef eleh. Nora tehilot, osef eleh. Adonai yimloch le'olam Moshe u'Miriam, ze Elianu ve'amru, ze Elianu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. It's like being at Woodstock all over again. It's so much fun. So probably have said this if not 100,000 times, then maybe close to 1 million. But some of the prayers in our service have unique purpose for them. By the way, where these prayers can be found all over the place, right? So some of the elements of our Shabbat service are from the Torah or from the Bible, the Tanakh. Other elements of our service come from the Talmud. And yet, even still, other ones are just poetry. Lecha Dodi, for example, is a poem. But this one, Vishamru, it comes from the Torah. It talks about what makes Shabbat unique and special and set apart from the rest of the week. Vishamru is on page 162. See? Because I refused.
Oh.
I was afraid.
To find the tune?
Right, to find the clap. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti השבת, לעשות את השבת לטובתם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לטובתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לטובתם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לטובתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לטובתם ברית עולם. All right. Nice job, everybody. And you guys too, by the way. We're on page 164, and that begins the tefillah. And as you probably, since many of you come here regularly, you know that we go 164, 166, 168, and 170. All four of those, every other page in a row. I'll do my best to tell you which page number we're on. But for the time being, we start with Adonai Sifatai Tiftach, 164. Please rise. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Adonai sifatai tiftach, Yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai. Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai. 166. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, ve'Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora, El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Ahavot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'Nehem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh kol atah Rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofeh holim, Umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha bal givurot, umido melach, melech memit, Hayeh umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lachayot hakol Baruch ata Adonai Mechayeh hakol 170 Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh Ukdoshim b'chol yom yalalucha selah Baruch ata Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated. Thank you. We're on page 173. And again, please join me in the English if you wish. Top of 173, may these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mikadesh HaShabbat. Okay, our service continues on page 178 with Shalom Rav, our evening prayer for peace. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Let's see here. All right, so feel free to put your prayer books down, at least temporarily. And this is, if not my absolute favorite, one of my favorites, but probably my favorite part of our Shabbat service is when we just work towards building a sense of community. I've told you many times, but if there's one person who hasn't heard it, then it's worth telling again. The fact is that I believe our number one priority here at the synagogue is community building. I truly do. I know that what happens here in the sanctuary for services is important. I don't want to take anything away from that. I know that what we do in our school is important. I do not want to take anything away from that. I know that when we do adult programs and adult education, it's important and meaningful. I Shalach Lahem Dimheira, Refuah Shalema, may God send them speedily a complete recovery. Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf, the healing of body and the healing of spirit. B'toch Sha'ar Cholei Israel, with all who are in need of healing. V'nomar Amen. And let us say Amen. So we're on page 371. Again, this is Misha Berach, and I invite you to please join us in singing Misha Berach. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We pause now for a moment of silence. Say shalom bimromav, uya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, amen. Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Say shalom bimromav, uya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, so much. And I want to share a few thoughts or a little expression tonight, almost in honor of the 3/4 of you for what you've done here musically. It's a story that comes from our Hasidic movement, right? The founder of the Hasidic movement was the Baal Shem Tov, the Besht. And so many of these Hasidic masters, they lived in Ukraine. Oftentimes in central Ukraine, not too kind of between Lviv and Kyiv. And they lived, and the height of this Hasidic movement was pretty much the 18th century, even though it reached into the 19th century too. But the Baal Shem Tov, the Besht, whenever the story goes about him, that whenever he felt the need to be grounded, he felt like he was needing a sense of more wholeness and kind of security, what the Baal Shem Tov would do is that he would find the same place in the woods, and he would light a fire in the woods, and he would get out a flask, and in his flask was some homemade brandy, and he would drink a l'chaim, warm himself up with the brandy, and then he would start humming or singing. And he would feel grounded, and he would feel whole, and he would go back home. And this went on for quite a while. And he got older, and one of his chief and primary disciples, who was the Maggid of Mezrich, also lived in that same region of Ukraine. This was not early 18th century like the Baal Shem Tov, rather the mid-18th century. And the Maggid of Mezrich was also a famous Hasidic master, not quite like his teacher, the Baal Shem Tov, but still quite good himself. Only there was one thing about him: he was not very good at making brandy. And so instead, what he would do when he was feeling a little ungrounded or when he was feeling a little lost, he too would go to that same place in the woods. He made a fire. He didn't have any brandy on him. So he didn't say, I'll do a l'chaim and have some brandy, but he did light the fire, and he did know the melody. And so he, by a fire, would sing, I-dee-dum, di-dee-dum, di-dee-di, I-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. And he did this for many, many years, whenever he needed to feel grounded, because they lived in the same community, and so they knew the same place in the forest. Well, his student, Moshe Leib of Sasov, who lived in the late part of the 18th century, he was less handy than the Maggid of Mezrich and was not very good at preparing a fire. But he did know the place in the woods. Now, since his teacher didn't know how to make brandy, he also didn't even occur to him that he wanted to add some brandy to this ritual, but he did know the place in the woods, and so Moshe Leib of Sasov, he would go to that same place in the woods that both the Maggid of Mezrich and the Baal Shem Tov, same place, but he wasn't very good at making a fire. So he would just go to this place in the woods, find a rock, sit on the rock, and I'll tell you what he would do. I-dee-dum, da-dee-dum, da dee di, I dee diggy 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 di. And this went on for years. And he also had a student. And his student was Israel, Yisrael of Regine. And now the thing about Yisrael of Regine is that Regine was a different area than where all these other Hasidic masters lived. It wasn't in central Ukraine like the others. Instead, he lived very close to the border with Moldova, and so he was not able to go to that place in the woods because we're talking 300 miles away. And he had no idea about the brandy that the Baal Shem Tov used to make. That was long gone. And he didn't know about it's not that he couldn't make a fire. From time to time he made a fire, but he didn't realize of its consequence. And he certainly didn't go to the same place in the woods. He didn't even know that he didn't know to go to the woods. He thought that was a special place. But he did know that tune. And so whenever Yisrael of Regine needed to be grounded and calm, he too would then just, wherever he was, he would sing, I-dee-dum, da-dee-dum, da-dee-di, I-dee-diggy-diggy, diggy-diggy-di. And all that was left of the Baal Shem Tov's tradition was just the melody, just the sound. But Yisrael of Regine said if you want to feel grounded, he said, just start with the melody. And the reason why I was thinking about this is just because I realize, and this is not something so remarkably new of a thought, but music really grounds us. It makes us feel connected. It makes us feel part of a community, but it also, I said earlier about that the Thou Shalt Love was a song that I remember growing up when I was at summer camp. And since I was the one who put together the cue sheet, I got to put it on there, just as a fun little reminder for me. And why? It's because these songs stay with us. These melodies stay with us. I mean, just think about how many times you have thought to yourself, you may not have said it, but you've thought to yourself, how come they're not doing the traditional version of that prayer that I know in services? And of course, you don't realize that quote, traditional version is maybe 100 and, like Shema, for example. Shema, Yisrael, which we all assume Moses sang that tune when he was receiving the Ten Commandments. He was literally chanting that. Turns out maybe 3,000 years later. That's when we wrote that. That tune was from the late 1800s, and that's our oldest, right? Or you think of, oh, we're so glad that you did that, Oseh Shalom. It's not like that song was written in the 50s. That song wasn't, or 60s, that song wasn't written in the late 1800s. So much of the music that we perceive to be the traditional version of something is just the traditional version at a time when you were growing up listening. These songs stay with us. And so having this group, which is no longer just Shabbat Zimra group, but rather shticks, having shticks here, Chris and Tom and Lou and John also, who's not here tonight, it really makes a difference because it creates these tangible memories which hopefully will stay with you. And so if you want to feel grounded, just take the advice of Yisrael of Regine and start with a little music. Thanks for listening. Shabbat Shalom. And we're on page 586 now. And I'd like to invite you, when you get there, to rise as we continue with Aleinu. please rise. Bottom of the page on 586. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Please be seated. So, just for those of you who haven't been here in a little while, I just want to share with you a tradition that has been ours for at least a few months now and will continue to be. I find it to be quite moving. Let me start by explaining to you that, in our Jewish tradition, when it comes to mourning, it's that it is a communal almost obligation to recognize and see the mourner in their moment of difficulty. And to communicate, not necessarily through words, but just by presence alone, that their struggle matters. And so our tradition is, a new tradition is that I'm going to read our Kaddish list, our Yahrzeit list, and that is loved ones who have passed away over the years on this Shabbat. And then, and as I read the names, if you hear your loved one's name, I would like to ask you to rise, only if you want to. And so we can see you in your moment of struggle. And then at the conclusion, I'll invite anybody who wishes to rise either in support or because it's your tradition to stand for the Kaddish no matter what, or because you want to honor and remember loved ones who have no one to say Kaddish for them. For any of these reasons, that's fine. I'll invite anyone who wishes to rise at the conclusion before we begin the prayer. But first, I would like to just, it's not about singling out, but more about just recognizing and being able to see the people who are mourning. And so again, if you hear your loved one's name and you wish to rise, please do so. We remember Eveline Newman Adler, Stanley Berman, Densmore Henschel, Mel Weinman, Frank Walter Lippman, Irvin Swartz, Leonard Berman, Morris Feldman, Calvin Taylor, Louis Feinstein, Saul Levine, Tilly Shadur, Kitty Weiner, Alex Langsam, Gerald Lenrau, Fred Littman, Deborah Rosen McCarrow, Erda Weiner, Jane Elliott, Bessie Rose Levin, Emma Lindauer, and Carol Orr. And so at this time, we invite anyone who wishes to rise in support or because it's your tradition to do so. We're on page 598. This is the Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechal beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach li'alam u'lalmei al-maya, yiparach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha Brichu. Le'elamin kol birchata v'shirata, tush v'chata v'nechamata, da'amiram bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to every bereaved heart. Amen. Please be seated. Thank you. Oof. So our service is almost over. But I have a handful of things that I'd like to tell you about before we conclude. So first of all, let me just share with you a handful of announcements. Let's start with the annual plant sale fundraiser. It has begun and orders must be placed by March 10th. And allow me just to, if you are wondering, oh, should you do this or not? If you are a person who likes to plant flowers, I cannot believe just how beautiful these flowers turn out to be. They have, in every time that we have purchased flowers from Home Depot or wherever, some sort of nursery, they never turn out as beautiful as these do. So these are like exceptionally good quality flowers, which are so full. So anyway, could not recommend more strongly to participate in this fundraiser. Now, let me tell you about the Men's Club Comedy Cavalcade, which is on Sunday. Yeah, so it's funny. I mean, but sometimes, hopefully, this one is going to be clean. Right? We have to do a good job of turning the microphones off and something. But for those of you who are interested in a few laughs, you will definitely get them at the Men's Club Comedy Cavalcade this Sunday, 10 a.m. I think bagels and coffee. Let's see what else. The Beatty Movie Night. Beatty is our youth group, but we've opened this program up to 7th grade through 12th grade. So if you know a 7th through 12th grader, please suggest that they come to Beatty Movie Night here. This is tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Dinner is included, and we're watching Wicked. That's right, Wicked. So just telling you. Now, Torah study and my Sages class, so the Monday morning and the Tuesday evening, back on schedule this week. So please, and if you're curious about it, but you thought, oh, I can't possibly do that. Everyone is so much more, able than I would be if I were to, you'd really, trust me, they're not that able in the class. No, I'm joking. Everyone's good, but the point is that you don't need to have prior experience. You just bring whatever you got, and it usually is a very meaningful experience. Let's see, next Friday is Tachabat and family services, including Italian food, no pizza, just Italian food, following the Tachabat prior to the family service. So you got to register for that so we know who's coming. But please feel free to join us for dinner and services next week. Thanks to everyone who participated in voting for Shticks, the band name. We're really excited about that. Cabaret night. I was wrong when I said, oh, your Joy, Dean, is 1 month away. Turns out it's 2 months away. It's April 5th, but the tickets sold out last time, and so I expect that to happen again, so please get tickets early. Finally, any other program that we have going on here is always, you're always able to see and access this by looking at our weekly email. So I encourage you to check out our weekly email for everything. It's worth a quick look through to see if anything is of interest to you in our weekly email. And if you don't get our weekly email, run, don't walk, run to your telephone on Monday morning so you can call up the office and make sure you get back on our email list. Okay, just a handful more things. Thank you so much to Brett Morrison and Piper Shenton for serving as ushers for us this evening. Thank you so much to the McCormicks, Paula and Saul, along with Mary West, for sponsoring the Oneg Shabbat this evening. Thank you to Shticks with Jess Weider here singing with me. Thank you so much, so much. And yeah, we're going to conclude with the Motzi, and then after Motzi, Adon Olam, which is on page 625. So first Motzi, please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. All right, so page 625. This is Adon Olam. Please, please, you'll pick this up too pretty quickly, so join us. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol Yitzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, Bechefso kol, Azahi Melech Shemo Nikra, Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol, Levado, Yimloch Nora, Vehu Haya, Vehu Hoveh, Vehu Yeh B'tivara, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol Yitzir Nivra, Ve'et Nasa, Bechefso kol, Azahi Melech Shemo Nikra, Vehu Echad, Ve'ein Sheni, Lehabshilo, Lehachmira, Beli Reshit, Beli Tachlit, Velo Ha'oz Ve'hamizra, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol Yitzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, Bechefso kol, Azahi Melech Shemo Nikra, Vehu Eli, V'chai Goli, V'tzor Chevli, Be'et Sarah, Vehu Nisi, Umanos Li, Minat Kosi B'yom Ekra, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol Yitzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, Bechefso kol, Azahi Melech Shemo Nikra, V'yado Afkid Ruchi, Be'et Ishan, Ve'a'ira, Ve'im Ruchi Giviati, Adonai li velo ira, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol Yitzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, Bechefso kol, Azahi Melech Shemo Nikra, Azahi Melech Shemo Nikra, Azahi Melech Shemo Nikra. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thanks for being part of that with me. Azahi Melech Shemo Nikra, Azahi Melech Shemo Nikra. No, do your thing. Do your thing. Nice. Thank you so much. What's that? Jordan. I should have said something. This isn't Jordan. You see this? Yeah. It's good. He's in the back.